Okay, today we're going to talk about the Fluid Power Society and becoming a member. Okay, I've been a member for at least 30 years or more. You need to look into this, and I hold 4 certifications, 4 mechanic certifications, which I did early on in my early 20s. I became certified, and that was on the beginning, basically, of the International Fluid Power Society. And I recommend that, you take a look at this and you become a member. Okay, it's so much per year, and then you get a magazine, and they'll have all the different information. They'll have technical bulletins in there, and they have the training. And so once you become a member, you can go through the training, and it's a self-study deal, and you get the books, and then you study for the tests, and there's hands-on tests, and there's different levels. You get specialist, engineer, different things in there. I have the 4 mechanic ones, and they've been good for 30 years. So it gives you an advantage, okay? We're doing this low-end type stuff. I'm showing you about sealing and all that, but there's more to it than that. And, you get into troubleshooting and going out the systems, trying to figure out what's wrong. And, you need to know what's inside of the pumps, how all this stuff works, how to test with flow meters, all this different stuff. But you'll take the different tests, and then the mechanic ones have some hands-on tests. Like for instance, tube bending and all that, and I kind of got lucky on that because early on I used to plumb harvesters, and I was really good with the tube bending. I would plumb entire machines and lay it all out. Okay, so like I said, I've been self-employed for over 32 years in this industry, and it's not just the hydraulic end, but primarily focused on hydraulics, but a lot of welding fabrication and machine shop stuff. So, I'm just trying to give you an insight to that. What I'm telling all the dads is get your boys when they're in high school, get them into welding class, okay, even sophomore, whatever, it doesn't matter, freshman, and then get them in that, get them if they're interested in that, then send them to like a junior college at night after school and start getting them, teach them how to weld, get their certification. Some of the colleges have that. Mine did, and mine had machine shop. So I did that all early on, right out of high school. And, that's how you get an advantage over everybody else. And there's not a lot of training on hydraulics. It's kind of a secret industry. And you have to get lucky to really learn it, or work in a shop that repairs. And fortunately for me, I trained under an old-time mechanic. Okay, but I took it further. I got really interested in that, and I took a bunch of my own classes on my own because I knew hydraulics was a little advantage. If you get your kids in that early on, it's an as soon as they graduate from high school, they're going to go work for Caterpillar. Okay, but so, and then you get the certifications, and they can do that too. Get them in there and have them self-study. Do it with them, dads. Do it with them. Get these kids in there. They'll have an advantage over everybody. So, you want to become a member of the International Fluid Power Society, and keep that up, and then start off with the mobile mechanic or industrial mechanic or pneumatic specialist. They got different tests on fittings. They got a certification on fittings and hose. Even I haven't done that one, but I'm pretty good with fittings and hose, and I can ID all that stuff because I've been doing it for 32 years, self-employed. Okay, so I started early. I started this business, about 22 years old. Right out of high school, I worked for a welding shop, And I knew right away, with what was 6 months, I knew I wanted to do my own thing. So you got to take the initiative. No one's going to hand it to you, but I'm telling the dads, get your boys, start with the welding, any kind of stuff like that. Get them into the college at night. Quit jacking around. It's tough out there. And it's hard to find good people that know what they're doing. I've been doing this 32 years, and I've gone through a lot of guys, and I'm just telling you that it's good luck. Anybody that's worth anything is going to be doing their own thing. So, but, it'd be nice if at 20 years old be working for Caterpillar and getting paid pretty good money. So give them an advantage. Okay, nowadays, all these kids, they want to screw around on the phones. They don't want to learn this stuff. So that's my tip on that. And look into the Fluid Power Society. And then every 4 years, they have a big show in Vegas. I recommend going to that. You can take classes there, see all the new stuff, all the vendors and all this, and check it out. And, you can do okay doing this stuff. You're not going to get rich or anything, but if you start off as a mechanic, you could become an engineer, and you'll have way more advantage over all the other engineers because you know how this stuff works. That's the key. For working on it, tearing it apart, knowing what to do. And that's a big deal. That's where you really become one of the top guys in this industry. So that's the tip for today. Stand by.